everyone, I'm Mrs. Becker. I'm your new third grade teacher here at Tracy Elementary. Very excited to start this year off with you. It's a little different, but it'll be a nice learning adventure for all of us. Some of you will be seeing me at school in the building on Tuesdays and Thursdays. Others will be seeing me on Wednesdays and Fridays. And we'll do our best to work together and we'll communicate. And there's a lot of learning to be done this year. So I'm really excited that you're in my classroom and you get to join in this learning experience together. After this slide, if you want to view the rest of the slides that I've created in this presentation, it'll give you a brief overview of what to expect this school year. Again, thank you and welcome to my class.
Hi everyone, again welcome. We'll be cruising through third grade. That's our Cool to Be Kind theme this year. Very excited to do this with you and be a part of this 2020-2021 school year. Welcome to third grade. This is a little bit different type of open house that we're having where parents and students aren't coming into the building to take a look around your classroom. But I did want to introduce myself briefly and give you some information in regards to this school year and what to expect. This is my family. On the far left is Cole. He's a student at Slippery Rock University. He's a basketball player. Next to me is my husband, Mark Becker. He's the athletic director at McDowell High School. Then there's me, and then there's my son on the far right, Levi, who just recently got married. Congratulations. He's a student at Edinburgh. He was the quarterback at Edinburgh as well. So let's have some fun this year together. This year's crew, it's nice that this is a presentation that you can re-watch. These are some of the students you'll see in your classroom this year. So you can take a look and peruse the group. We have, as of now, 18 students and 2 virtual learners that will be 100% at home learning from there. Some important things that I want you to think of throughout this school year. I talk a lot about this I can attitude. It's called the growth mindset. Basically what it is to encourage students and let them know that their brain is growing. The more effort and the more times they try things, the more times you talk about things, it's going to go in that long-term memory. And throughout this school year, and they're going to grow. Their brain's going to grow. Their backpacks are going to get fuller of information. They'll be able to use that to make connections with other learning as they go through school. It's an I can attitude. So the growth mindset, there's 5 things you really want to think about. The first is talking about your learning. If you talk about your students' learning, and I do it a lot in school, have students explain how they solved a problem, that really helps to take that information and put it in their long-term memory because it's the second time they're taking a look at that information. The second thing is encourage failure. You might say, you know, why? But the more times someone tries something, they will find a strategy that fits their learning style. So again, failure can be a positive thing because it teaches you what you need to do to learn and what strategies that's right for you. Praise the process. A lot of times we want to say, oh, you're so smart, but praise the process with your student. Let them know that it's their effort that made it happen. Remind students that their brain's growing, that as they're growing physically, their brain grows as well. Their new learning makes new connections. And then the last thing is help them change their dialogue. Rather than saying, you know, this is hard, I can't do it. Let them know that they can. And through their effort and finding a strategy, the learning is going to take place for them. Some platforms we'll be using. Students will have a Chromebook this year. They're going to be able to take it home and then bring it back each day. It's very important they bring that Chromebook back each day because we will be using it and practicing how to get on these platforms, especially during the first 2 weeks of school. You'll be seeing us on Google Classroom, Clever, where you can locate all the platforms, Freckle. There'll be Reflex that you're familiar with from last year. We have McGraw-Hill with My Math and Wonders. Some other side ones that you might see in Clever that we'll be using is Epic, Khan Academy, ReadWorks, and Edpuzzle. and math antics. So during the first few weeks of school, your child will be introduced to each of these learning platforms. They'll also have opportunities to ask questions as they're learning how to navigate these. In their binders, I purchased clear sleeves, and in that sleeve, they're going to put their login information for these platforms. And I really hope that helps as they go back and forth throughout the week from home to school. Clever is a platform. It's that one-stop shop. Clever is a great platform that the Mill Creek School District adopted. So when students log into Clever, they'll find all the platforms that I just discussed that they'll be using for the school year. Remember, and what's cool about Clever, it remembers their login information for each of those platforms, so they don't have to log in continually over and over again. It sort of remembers as they click on the link or the platform, it takes them to that information. Google Classroom, that's our Google Classroom login, ERCUB5B. That would be for 2020-2021 school year. On Google Classroom, I'll have a weekly plan posted. Check that daily to find posted assignments, reminders, videos, and links to view. Students can create and turn in assignments. I used this last year for some paragraph writing. It's a great way the kids can just click and type according to the prompt they're given and then turn that in. It'll also be used for collaborative and cooperative learning, especially at the beginning of the school year. So I'll teach them how to navigate through Google Classroom. Freckle, again, is another platform. This is where students get to learn, practice, and reinforce skills and concepts in math and ELA. It also has a science and social studies component that we may be using throughout the school year. But it's a great way I can see how students are doing. I use it as an assessment tool, as well as to see where students are at and to reassign as needed. Reflex, you're familiar with. They did that in second grade. It's used to build math back fluency, which is so important for when you get into 2 to 3 steps problems, especially in third grade, fourth grade, and on. I used to teach Title I math, and knowing their facts makes everything much easier. So Reflex is a great platform that we have. The expectations as of now are 4 green circles a week. A green circle simply is when a student completes an entire program or whatever they have for those students to do, a set of games. And when that is completed, they get a green circle that they can see in the upper right of their screen. That means they completed that program. And the expectation as of now is 2 at school and 2 at home. McGraw-Hill, that's where you'll find My Math and Reading Wonders. For My Math, check those assignments. They'll be posted weekly in our Google Classroom, but they'll also be in the My Math ebook resources through Clever. In My Math Digital, there's self-check, there are videos, there are homework pages that can be completed on the Chromebook. I'll also post a video for each lesson we have in our Google Classroom. So if you're not in school for that direct face-to-face instruction, you can have that direct instruction at home through the video and then ask questions when you come to school. Reading Wonders, same thing. Check your assignments. They'll be posted in our Google Classroom, but also in the Reading Wonders resources. Things that you'll see digitally would be maybe grammar pages. Of course, they might be taking their book to and from school as well. Leveled reading books, listening center text, their writing, and posted video lessons. Remember that this is a hybrid schedule, so students will be accessing online platforms to complete some work or assignments, and for some they'll be using paper and pencil. We'll see what works best for our class. They'll be getting face-to-face direct instruction as well when they come to school. We are in this together, and as the year progresses, things are going to become routine and systematic. Communication is key this year. Weekly communication folder is going to be sent home. In the blue schedule, they'll take their folder home on Tuesdays and have it signed and returned by Thursday. The white schedule to take their folder home on Wednesday and have it returned and signed by Friday. So that's something to look for. At the beginning of the year, there might not be a lot of papers in there. Not sure how this year is going to go because some things will be done in Google Classroom and turned in that way. So again, being hybrid, we're going to have to work out how much is paper pencil and how much will be via like a Google Classroom or through other platforms. Google Classroom, remember, or my email. In Google Classroom, I'm going to post videos that are teacher created. That's how I'll communicate those lessons on the day they're not in school. There'll be links to YouTube or other educational videos. There'll be posted assignments and reminders. So that's a way that we can communicate, as well as through email with me. Finally, have students bring questions to school. Circle problems that they may find difficult while they're at home, and then we can review that material the next day in school. So again, being like a flipped classroom, they will be having some direct instruction and some videos at home. They will be doing their best to complete some independent practice pages or independent work, but have them the next day. Again, we're going to review things before we move on. So please keep that in mind. Our daily schedule so far is in the morning, we're going to have our math right away. We're going to have writing and spelling. We'll have our specials. Lunch is about 30 minutes long. It will be in the classroom this year. It's 11:45 to 12:15. In the afternoon, my plan is to have reading in a whole group and some independent practice. We do have a structured walk time, and we have language, arts, and grammar at the end of the day. Our special schedules is as follows. This is a little different. My special schedule changed from previous years. This year on day 1, we have music. Day 2, we have library. Day 3, gym. And day 4, art. For gym, not sure exactly how that'll look, but it will be in our classroom. But please have your child wear appropriate footwear for the day they participate in gym. They're going to be active in the classroom in some way. Secondly, library. Again, I'm sure there'll be some sort of process put in place to have quarantine books, but I always suggest that the students be checking out books that day they have library, to please choose a special place at their house to keep their library books. That way they know exactly where they are. That way they know where they are if they want to do some independent reading at home and so forth. For recess, students will participate in a scheduled daily walk, so please keep an eye on the weather to ensure proper dress and footwear. We're going to try to get out for that walk every day, especially with the situation as it is, to get our bodies moving. I think it'll be a really nice time of day for us. Math, they're going to be daily lessons. It's sort of that flipped classroom where at home they'll be doing some of that watching of videos and doing some things independently, and then we'll reinforce that when they come to school. And both A, or blue, and B, which is white, will have the opportunity to have direct instruction with me. You're probably familiar with the My Math pages. It's the first page is a teacher directed or a video at home. On the back side of that page is a guided practice on the very bottom. And again, I'll have a video at home to go through that guided practice. And of course, there's the independent practice. So at home, circle the ones that you don't know that present a problem. And the next day, before we go to our next lesson, I'll review that as well as the homework. Language art looks like we'll have reading, which is whole group. I'm going to try to have some guided reading. I will have guided reading. They'll have some independent practice, and we'll try to develop that vocabulary. For writing, we're looking for spelling patterns in their everyday writing. So if they do have that spelling list and they've learned that list, the expectation is to have them start using that in their daily writing. Paragraphs and sentence structures, especially at the beginning of the year. We will be doing personal narratives. We'll be doing some informational how-to and all about writing, and we'll have some opinion writing as well. We're working to develop their content. Do they have nice juicy details? Their conventions, do they have capitals and correct punctuation? Organization, is their writing sequential? Focus, do they stay on one topic? And their style, and that's for some of the higher writers, and that's sort of a goal or an expectation. Do we hear their voice in their writing? The writing process that I'll be teaching throughout the school year from the first day to the end of the school year is we brainstorm. We get our ideas, we pre-write, we rough draft, we revise, we edit, and publish. And then finally, grammar. Again, we're looking for the conventions in their everyday writing. Capitals, periods, correct subject-verb agreement. They have a subject and a predicate to make a complete sentence. They have parts of speech, capitalization, punctuation, and the types of sentences. That's the grammar proponent, and that really does fall under writing. Assessments to see what the students are understanding and know. A lot of times it's informal, asking questions, observation on how the students are working through problems, asking the students to self-reflect and talk about their learning, like I mentioned at the beginning with the growth mindset. We have Check My Progress. We have some teacher-generated assessments. We have chapter test in McGraw-Hill with My Math and Reading Wonders. Those will take place, the bigger test in school. Again, they'll be doing some things on the Chromebooks. I will use Reflex to check their fluency. I will use Freckle to check concepts and reinforcement of skills. Binders, they are going to have a binder, and please keep it small. Just like a one subject binder, within it they're going to have their homework. Their binders are going to be taken home every night and brought back to school every day. Now within their binder they're going to have a homework folder. On one side is return to school and one side is leave at home. In that you'll find completed assignments and tests. You might find handouts from the office, any homework or assignments that need to be completed and returned to school. If you see notes like a DT on a paper, that means we did it together. It was done together. CT means we checked it together. And PP1, for example, would be practice page 1. And that would be your math. That refers to your math pages. The planner is also going to be in there. There's a first year students do it. So I have an example coming up here. In their planner, they record their homework. They record long-term assignments, such as maybe Cool to Be Kind pennies or money to be brought in, things around the holidays to be brought in for people in need. They also list materials needed, and phys ed usually use it. I don't know if they're going to use it this year, but they've used it in the past. It's very important. It's a student's responsibility to fill out their planner. I'll remind students each and every morning to fill out their planners when going through our morning meeting, but it is their responsibility to do that. Here's what a planner looks like. It's on the top, it's language arts, math, science, social studies, and items needed. So you might have an assignment like this, spelling packet, 3 activities. I'm using Spelling City this year as well. That's a platform that they can get on a Chromebook, go to Spelling City, and their list will be there. But I might be doing the spelling packet as well. That's a paper pencil. Then the math, it might have like practice page 6 through 7. It'll have a basic facts +2. We start with those at the beginning of the year. We'll talk more about that later. And then at the bottom is items needed, maybe like Cool to Be Kind pennies. The science and social studies a lot of times is embedded in our Reading Wonders curriculum. But this year, with the platforms that we're using and with Freckle, it might be an assignment such as watch the video on magnetism or motion. And social studies is the same thing. There may be a link for social studies and so forth. Or in their book in the bag due on day 6. Book in the bag is a writing assignment I've done in the past, but I might again be using Google Classroom as a platform for students to read and write and so forth. The first 2 weeks of school, I ask parents to sign it, a parent or guardian to sign it, saying that you've looked over it, you know what the students are doing, you know what's expected. And then after that, I don't require a signature by the parents unless there's a problem and there needs to be some more communication between home and school. We have a reading camp out that takes place at the end of the year. We have a big sort of a reading camp out day. But throughout the school year, we're asking students to read. It's called, it's the Book It program through Pizza Hut. But it begins in October, and each month students will receive a new contract, and they're responsible for their reading each month. So again, they're reaching their goals. If each month they read and return their contract, they get some perks. They get a little Pizza Hut coupon. where they can get a personal pan pizza. Obviously, the more they read now, the greater chances of them being lifelong readers in the future. So, and what's cool about this is students are reading independent, just right books for them, so it's at their level. School supplies. All supplies will be kept in the student's desk and cannot be shared, so make sure your child has what they need to begin the school year. Some extra things that we will be accepting in the classroom are tissues and hand sanitizer, Clorox wipes, and extra expo markers. Note that all supplies that don't fit in your child's supply box will be used, will be collected and possibly shared in the classroom. Not sure how that's going to work this year because students have their own materials that they're responsible for, and I won't be passing out materials like I have in the past. So possibly I'll probably just send those items home that don't fit, keep them somewhere, and then when they run out, I have a little checklist that they can circle what maybe they're out of, and they can just get it from those supplies that you have stored at home. Birthday treats. With the current COVID-19 pandemic, there will be no external snacks or food permitted in school. If that changes, I'll let you know, but as of now, that's my understanding. Volunteer packets, again, currently due to COVID-19 pandemic, will not be having any parent volunteers or field trip chaperones. That may change again. I'm not positive, the course, everything changes daily, but that's currently my understanding. But if you do want to get on top of things and get a volunteer packet from the office, you have to have one of those filled out, as well as clearances, in order to participate in field trips or parties. Not foreseeing that, but if you want to, stay on top of that, you can. Those are in the office. Remember, it's 2020, so expect the unexpected this year. Be flexible. Remember, changes can happen throughout the school year, and let's communicate the best we can. And I feel through that communication, we're going to have a really successful, nice year. Finally, tips. There are 3 additional slides at the end of this presentation with some helpful information on Reading Wonders and My Math. So you can click through those. I'll click through them briefly when you can rewatch this, snapshot it with your phone, or however you want to do that. Please feel free to contact me with any questions or concern. You can contact the Tracy School office, and they can send a note to give you a call. That number is 835-5800, or email me at dbecker@mtsd.org. So welcome back, and here are those slides. You can take a look at that. That's for Reading Wonders and spelling and grammar. And you can always rewatch this and stop at this slide. And then, of course, My Math, and there's some really cool tools and resources. On the bottom of the page, you'll find like a blue, green, red, yellow, and purple. And those are specific things that you can click on to give you extra support in the lesson. And then My Math, How to Look at School. Remember, the kids are going to get at least 2 face-to-face lessons with a review each week. Students will watch posted videos at home in Google Classroom, or if any links. They'll complete the independent practice pages and homework, even numbers as of now. They'll be freckle and reflex. And then at home and school, we'll be using the McGraw-Hill platform, freckle, reflex. There'll be math links, Google Classroom, and so forth. So that's it. Really excited to see you and meet you personally, and your kids will be coming on September 8th. Those will be the Blue students. Thank you for your time. Excited to meet you and see you.